Hammers, and Summer Speckhart doing a nice job early through the first 4 innings, giving up nothing. Michelle Hammers giving up even less. She had a 2-hitter on the day. She also added an RBI triple in this one. That was really the measure of difference in this ball game. Quincy High goes on to win 4-0. On the local scoreboard, not much today because of the bad weather. Some folks
chance to get action today. The IHSA has decided that what a great day for action at the mark in all the effort. Now let me tell you about some high school softball action, and we're going to go down to Pittsfield for the championship game of the Pike County Conference Tournament. Liberty against Payson. Liberty up 2-1 in the 6th. Mary Fessler rolling one out to the outfield, scoring Sarah Orman. The Eagles with the lead 3-1. The Indians went to work in the bottom of the 6th. Jill Kaufman with the ground ball. It was bobbled at second. Dallas Duncan scored. It was a 3-2 game. Then Jessica Boone up. A wild pitch here in the 7th inning. Stacy Fritz was able to come on in and score. And in the 7th inning, Payson had tied it up. It was a 3-3 ball game. The Indians thrilled to get that run across the plate. But Boone's at bat was not over. Still one runner on, and she shoots one into the left field corner. The go-ahead run is already scored, but here Boone tagged out at the plate by Charlene Funk. That kept it a 4-3 ball game, but Payson was able to stop Liberty in the bottom of the 7th inning, and the Payson Indians win the Pike County Conference Championship. The final score today, Payson wins over Liberty. It was 4-3. Payson now 15-5 on the season. I have a lot of other scores to tell you about now.
Pittsfield's high-powered offense to just 3 runs, and that was enough today as Payson pounded out 10 runs of its own, and Payson gets the victory in this one, final 10-4 on the day for the Payson Seymour Indians. Elsewhere in high school softball today, some scores for you. Quincy Notre Dame, a winner over Liberty. Meredith Sapp
to the White Sox. And in other action, Canton split 2 games in their tournament today as they beat Slater, but then lost to Madison in that tournament. And then West Pike Berry won both their games today against Liberty, 5-1 in the first game, 7-2 in the next. Macomb not as lucky today because Rock Ridge, powerful offense on them today, 6-1 in the first game, 7-0 in the second. Elsewhere in Beerstown, we had a no-hitter. Tyler Bulig with a no-hitter today as the Beerstown Tigers go on to win 10-0 over Colchester. And then in the second game, a lot of powerhouse offense. Again, 11-5 over Colchester in the second game. Elsewhere, Unity defeated Pleasant Hill 17-5. Putting a lot of runs on the board was Unity, 17-5 the final. And the Payson, also in Quincy High School, was 6-3 in the first one. Robbie Young, the winning pitcher. And then they fell 15-3 in the second game. The Payson Seymour Lady Indians took the diamond today, riding the hot arm of senior pitcher Summer Steckhart. Her last outing ended in a no-no, and Payson is making a statement lately with their powerful play as we take a look at the Payson catcher. That is Amber Pryor, as she would tie the game 1-1 in the first inning. Then Summer Speckhart, after giving up 1 run early, would settle down and have a solid game as she had 1 of her 6 strikeouts there. And now a little more Payson offense as we take a look at Dallas Duncan with a triple here. It was actually a hit, and it was an RBI hit, and that would turn into an error in the outfield, and that would actually turn into a triple as we see Dallas chugging around the bases and diving head first into third. And then Speckhart adding to her cause as she comes so close to a home run. The wind was blowing in, folks. That might have been out on any other day. Dallas Duncan follows suit, again driving. Summer Speckhart in again for Summer's second run of the day and Dallas' second RBI. And the crowd went wild. And then we take a look at more defense as Speckhart was just hot today on the rubber, and we take a look at a nice diving catch later by Kim Tall-Stall in center field as the Payson Seymour Lady Indians go on to win this game. 4-1 was the final. All kinds of softball action today is in the Nauvoo-Calusa tournament. La Harpe split 2 games.
Case of addition by subtraction. The St. Louis Cardinals. Well, apparently our highlights are a little further along than maybe we wanted them to be. Let's tell you, Summer Speckhart is pitching against Quincy Notre Dame and getting herself out of a jam after giving up a run to Quincy Notre Dame, which went up 1-0. Meanwhile, good pitching here for Sheena Piper, who does some nice work to get herself in a nice position. Her team leading Payson 1-0 at this point. Oh, and then everything goes awry for Quincy Notre Dame. Kendall Brown with a nice hit to start the inning. And then it's Jessica Boone getting into the act with a single as well, the infield single. Payson has runners on first and second. That sets the table just a bit later for some fortuitous action. Not exactly the prettiest game for Payson, but they'll take the run here as Miss Brown comes home to score on the pass ball. We're tied up at 1 apiece. A little bit later, Actually, a few seconds later, Dallas Duncan gets into the act for Payson with the RBI single. Makes it 2-1 for Payson over Quincy Notre Dame, and we'll spare you the rest of the details. Real ugly pitching game tonight. Payson pulls out a rare victory over Quincy Notre Dame by the final of 11.
And Quincy Notre Dame hosting, or actually made the trek to Payson this afternoon. Excellent ball game. Head coach Eric Orn and company riding a 9-game win streak, but Payson had other ideas this afternoon. Summer Speckhard, a decent day at the mound. She didn't get a lot of help behind her, but the Lady Indians get the job done today as they knock off Quincy Notre Dame. Your final 11-9. Lady Indians get the victory. And that's it in sports.
That looked like a tough pitch.
Baseball tournament to nothing. Let's do some softball now. Payson, coming off an opening night win, took on Colchester, playing its first game this afternoon. And it was a scoreless game in the bottom of the first. Jessica Boone standing on first base. Sarah Harris lays down the near-perfect bunt. Boone runs very, very well. She's quick. She takes advantage of a little bit of a slow throw and ends up on third base in scoring position for Pam Havermail. One of the first of 2 hits for her on the day, an RBI double to score Jessica Boone. And Payson would jump out to a 2-0 lead in this one. Chester would eventually settle in after those first inning jitters. Great defense right here on the bunt. And there's Brittany Paul coming up with it. She's got a gun. She lets fire. There's an out. And how about Amy McKee on the hill? Pitching rather well today. She had 6 strikeouts. Check that, 7 on the day, including 1 here to end the threat. Top of the second, Colchester tries to come back in this game, get some offense going. It's Miss Vogler coming up here with the single to set the table. In fact, Colchester would load the bases. Payson tries to get out of the jam. Dallas Duncan on third base, coming up with some great defense in this one. And a nice play at the plate as Amber Pryor gets the tag down. The threat effectively killed, but Marcy Reed drives in a run with an infield single. Colchester closes to within 2-1. Jill Kaufman just too good pitching off the bench today. She had 8 strikeouts, and Payson goes on to improve to 2-0 in the season. The Lady Indians win 5-4. Other scores in softball today. Carthage today a loser to Nauvoo-Calusa, who's awfully good. 11-7 your final there. Got a little baseball for you as well today. On the college docket, Quincy University a
little prep action. Bottom 4. Pittsfield with a 2-0 lead. And Pittsfield pitcher Danielle DeHart delivering a pitch to Pam Havermail, who shoots it to center field, but look at the defense. The story today for Pittsfield and pitcher Danielle DeHart. Excellent afternoon on the mound. Later, Dallas Duncan grounded out there. Shortstop Angie Browning burning her out. Even more good Pittsfield defense. Janelle Irving throws out Amber Pryor. And Payson failed to put a run on the board, and it showed today. Pittsfield taking advantage of it and gets the victory by the final of 5-0 this afternoon. Elsewhere on the local scoreboard, one
Quincy Notre Dame remains
as well, of course.
Payson tries to answer back with some pitching of its own. Jill Kaufman answers with a strikeout. Payson still maintaining at this point the 2-1 lead. Payson would get another run on a pass ball and extend its lead out to 3-1 here, but Quincy Notre Dame comes back with a rally. Lindsey Phillips was huge tonight, 3 for 4 with 2 ribbies, including this RBI single, which ties the game up at 3 apiece. Take it late into the game, Courtney Bailey with a strikeout to keep it tied. That sets up the 7th inning. Runners on 2nd and 3rd, 1 out for Lydia Keck, with a heck of a finish for Lydia Keck tonight as she plays your hero with a single to score. Nikki Cornwell, a walk-off RBI single. That is the difference in the ballgame. Quincy Notre Dame goes on to
football action. 10th and Jackson was the place to be in Quincy tonight as QND hosted Payson Seymour. To Quincy Notre Dame we go for the highlights. We picked this one up in the top of the 3rd. Payson Seymour leading a 1-0. The Lady Indians up to bat with runners at 2nd and 3rd. Amber Pryor at the plate. She lays down the bunt, but a great defensive play by QND first baseman Lydia Keck. The run does not cross the plate. Next batter for Payson, Jill Kaufman. She'll get that run back as she takes the wild pitch, scoring Sarah Harris. Payson Seymour led by the score of 2-0. Quincy Notre Dame would make a comeback effort, though, in the bottom of the 3rd after a leadoff infield single by Nikki Cornwell. Lindsey Phillips drills a double into right center, plating Cornwell. The Lady Raiders trailed 2-1, but that setback or that 2-1 deficit wouldn't last for very long as QND would go on to win this evening. A good come-from-behind win for Coach Eric Orn and the Lady Raiders, 4-3. Lydia Keck with that game-winning RBI. Lindsey Phillips adds 3 RBIs in the win.
The odds are very, very good that by reaching the finals, Culver-Stockton will end up making the region play-in tournament in the district tournament coming up a little later next week in O'Fallon. 11-1. Rushville in a nice groove today. They lose, but that groove ends. They play Carthage in a doubleheader tomorrow. They lose to a very good AC Central team, 9-11. Doubleheader today for Central swept By Central over Hannibal. Kyle Bent in the series goes 5 for 8 with 2 doubles. Also today in Missouri, South Shelby a loser to Macon. Daniel McCarty, very good for the Tigers with a 1-hitter today. Mark Twain ends Highland's 4-game winning streak today, 8-3. Jerry Armour, I should say, goes 3 for 3 in that one. And we move on, and let's talk a little softball now. In her first 2 seasons as the head coach at Liberty, Lisa Schwartz has marshaled her team to 28 wins in 33 games. And tonight, she could add a 2nd straight Pike County Conference tournament crown to the trophy case, provided her team could get past Payson in this one. A dandy pitchers matchup, a duel. Sarah Ormond on the hill, a Player of the Year candidate with a strikeout to end the second at nothing apiece. Jill Kaufman, though, doing her level best to match Sarah Ormond with a strikeout of her own. Both pitchers awfully, awfully good, and we'll prove it to you again by showing you each of them again. We show them to you because there's really not a whole lot else to show you in terms of highlights. The pitchers combined to give up just 2 hits today. Jill Kaufman gave up none of them. She needed some run support. She would get it courtesy of Jessica Boone, who starts things off with an infield hit. Jessica Boone, oh so good. She's standing on third base. That's the table for Amber Pryor to play the hero. With a sac fly, Jessica Boone scorches her way home, one of the fastest players in Tri-State softball, and that's the difference in the game. Payson is your Pike County Conference Tournament champion today, winning 1-0. More softball to pass through it quickly. Payson tonight, a winner. Barry also.
Pike County Conference Championship, you bet. Payson with the opportunity to clinch it if they beat Liberty. Top of the 4th, Payson sporting a 3-0 lead. Jessica Boone tripling down the right field line, and Payson was out to somewhat of a surprising 4-0 lead. Liberty going to make a comeback, though. They're tough. Sarah Ormond at third, and she'll score on a pass ball. That puts Liberty on the board 4-0. Great ball game. Later in that same inning, Kara Mueller would come on home on a Payson error, and Liberty trailed 4-2. So getting the runs any way they could, making a game out of it. The Lady Eagles would score once more in the 5th with Payson's Jill Kaufman. She's a pitcher. No more runs for you. Payson beats Liberty today by the final of 4-3, taking the outright crown to the Pike County Conference Tournament. Congratulations.
A whole lot of fun.
Well, talk about the winner. Goes a date against Hamilton coming up next week in the Q&D sectional. Jeff Sanger looking for his 100th win in the 7th inning. Game tied at 3 in the bottom of the 7th. Shannon Deeker takes one for the team, and that sets the table for Pam Havermail, who does the deed right there. A walk-off RBI double, and that is the difference in the game. Congratulations to Pam Havermail. We'll hear more from her coming up tomorrow, and from Payson Seymour on a wonderful run.
We've got more for you. A pretty great day. You can't. It's either going to be Payson or Quincy Notre Dame. A great ball game shaking down today in Payson, and we pick it up early. Quincy Notre Dame out to a 1-0 lead. The wild pitch gets passed, and Jessica Boone is cashing in. She gets in there. Score tied 1-1. Still in the first. Runner at third for Jill Kaufman. This is helping yourself out. The pitcher drives in Kinsey Bryant, and Payson goes up 2-1, somewhat in control. In the 5th inning, Payson with a 2-run advantage. Q&D has runners at 2nd and 3rd, and this is Melissa Dolman. This one gets down and left, and Michelle Stone and Lindsay Phillips going to come on down. We take you all the way to the bottom of the 7th. Pressure on the line, and guess who likes that? Pam Havermail, with the game tied at 3, drives in the winning run. Payson Seymour Indians moving on, ending Quincy Notre Dame's season at a final of 4-3.
Would be the ability the Lady Indians have to thrive in high-pressure situations, as we saw yesterday in the win over Q&D.
Well, you know, we couldn't run it easy because that's just not how we win games, so we had to just try our hardest and, you know, make it a little interesting.
Yeah, I can't count the number of times. I'd say at least 10 times this year we've come back and won a game in the 7th inning. And you know, I asked the kids afterwards, you know, did any of you have any doubts that we were going to score? No. Everybody figured we were going to put one across. So it's a different hero every day.
This is awesome. You can't put words on it. It's too great.
She flat out made some plays for us today and had good throws all around and was very comfortable today. And you know, that's a huge improvement for her. She's been working on it the last half of the season, and you know, she was the player today. That's no doubt about that.
Today about how he, in late season signing news, sorry, got off target there. Palmyra linebacker extra sectional now, where Southern pitcher Mindy Morrison, fresh off a 26-inning, 336-pitch performance against Macomb, could ill afford to be arm-weary tonight. Her opponent, Beardstown, may be the best team in the region. Mackenzie Jones and company amped for this one in the first inning. How about the defense here? Sarah Givens guns the runner, attempting to go to second base. Lots of good catchers tonight. Lots of good Whitney Howe as well. She had her game on. Scoreless, 5 innings worth of work. She was awfully good tonight. Pick it up in the bottom of the sixth, second and first, 2 out for Mackenzie Jones. She plays your hero. You'll hear from her here tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. That's all Beardstown would need. They advance with the win by the final of 3-0. Now, on the other side of the bracket, Payson Seymour finally dropped its Cardiac Kids Act for a night. The Queens of High Diamond Drama didn't need a whole lot of drama tonight against this team. That's right, Hamilton. Good matchup, but a lot of good stuff early. Shannon Deeker reaches on the out right there. Oh, Payson Seymour, runner on third. Amber Pryor about to do some work for Payson, getting the job done and forcing the first run of the night across. Jill Kaufman would need little more than that tonight. She ends up with the shutout. She was very, very effective indeed as Payson Seymour gets the victory over Hamilton by the final of 5-0.
Memorial Day Marathon that ended with a one-run win over Macomb on Monday. Stronghurst Southern, the girls, were awarded a sectional date with one of the best softball teams in the area tonight. It's Beardstown, one of the best in the area, as we mentioned. And Whitney Howell on the mound for the Lady Tigers. Beardstown looking for their 28th win of the season. The game went scoreless all the way to the bottom of the sixth. Beardstown with 2 on for Mackenzie Jones. Jones rips one into right field, scoring Bray Ashcraft and Heather Durrett's a triple. 2-0 Beardstown. Very next batter, Larissa Lewis, also a pitcher on this team. This is insurance. Base hit scoring Jones. Beardstown goes up 3-0. You're taking out of the top of the seventh. Whitney Howell on the mound, 11 Ks, just a 4-hitter this afternoon. Here she strikes out the final batter of the game, and Beardstown advancing by the final of 3-0. Lady Tigers 28-3, and Stronghurst Southern season comes to an end at 18-8. Well, meanwhile, who wants Beardstown? Andrea Hellenthal and Hamilton on the other side of this bracket. Andrea Hellenthal hasn't allowed an run since the postseason started. The Payson not intimidated, up 1-0. Pam Havermail, you are safe at the plate thanks to an RBI by Jill Kaufman. The pitcher helping herself out. Payson out to a 3-0 advantage. To the fourth, Krista Dietrich. She shot it to right, but check out Rachel Schlatter with room to spare on that one. That's a gem in right. Same inning. Payson with a runner at second. They'd capitalize on a throwing error to first. Shannon Deeker rounding third and headed for home. 4-0. Payson jumps out to the advantage. Down 5-0 in the fifth. Andrea Hellenthal not going down with a fight. That's a rip line drive to right field. She's in there standing up for the double, but it was not enough tonight. Hellenthal, 11 Ks on the mound and 4 hits allowed. Jill Kaufman with 6, and Payson is moving on. They get the victory this afternoon by the final of 5-0 over Hamilton. Well, now on
one here at Quincy Notre Dame High School, pitted Payson, Seymour, and Beardstown. Bottom of the first, the Lady Tigers would score first with runners at second and third. Rosemary Orrell will ground out, but that enables Cassie Fisher to score. The Lady Tigers up by the score of 1-0. Payson would tie it later and then score 4 runs in the top of the fourth, highlighted here by a base hit from Sarah Harris. That would score Jessica Boone. The Lady Indians had a 5-1 advantage. We do not have the final hit, but we do have the final run, as Beardstown had a remarkable comeback today. Jenny Hendricker would score in the bottom of the 8th inning to give Beardstown the win today. Cassie Fisher had the big hit. You'll hear from her coming up later on this weekend as well as next week, as Cassie Fisher and Beardstown get it done today. They're just 1 win away from state. They win by the score of 6-5. Their next opponent will be Warrensburg, who shuts out Williamsville in the other sectional championship that affects those 2 schools.
Hey, in the super sectionals, the girls trying to make it a Beardstown affair with Rosemary Orrell at bat with a runner on third. The fielder's choice is going to get a run to score. The Lady Tigers go up 1-0. And then Payson ties the game behind a triple by Pam Havermail. She sends it all the way out to the fence, and that's going to score Sarah Harris 1-1 ball game. Then Beardstown's defense seemed to let them down, as we saw Dallas Duncan laying down the bunt. A run is going to score on this play as the throw goes over the first baseman's head. It is a 2-1 Payson Seymour lead. Then Krista Dietrich steps up with yet another bunt, and this one, everybody's safe, everybody scores. 3-1 Payson. Jessica Boone steps up, lays down a bunt, and she's going to get herself safe at first base. Another run scores. Then Sarah Harris getting the RBI hit. That's a base hit, and it is a 5-run Payson Seymour lead, unanswered. They get 5 runs. It's 5-1 Payson Seymour, but Beardstown crawls back into this thing. Kayla Tracy scoring on a pass ball makes it 5-3. Then Lacey Logsdon steps up, the freshman, getting the RBI double to make the game 5-4. Then Kayla Tracy's going to step up to bat and tie the game in the 7th inning. She's going to force extra innings with this RBI double. Then Cassie Fisher with a runner on first base. This is a stand-up triple for Cassie Fisher, and this is a sectional championship for the Beardstown Lady Tigers. They are victorious 6-5. Who do they go on to play? They're going to go on, and they are going to play West Latham, as West Latham wins 1-0. The final score in this. Real quickly, Hannibal Trapp
spring sports season with our all-do-or-die baseball and softball wrap-up special. Now, coming up later in this show, our baseball and softball players of the year, plus our Diamond Dream teams. But we begin tonight by honoring the top 2 coaches of the year who coincidentally hail from the same school. Here's Kurt LaBelle.
The 2003 baseball coach of
on a boat trip.
And we begin tonight with the best baseball batteries we could possibly muster. Well, it's time now to spotlight the most sensational stars of the Missouri and Illinois softball seasons. Now, due to the fall-spring seasonal split of the schedules, our softball do-or-die team has a little different look than the baseball squad as we honor the top 18 players in the region regardless of position. So without any further ado, enjoy our countdown.
Leading off our softball Elite 18, a pair of dazzling underclassmen. Clark County freshman Ashley Wallingford grabs the final slot on our all-do-or-die first team after hitting a scintillating .447 this season with just 3 strikeouts at the plate. She added a home run and 17 RBI to the cause and doubled as the Lady Indians' top pitcher. Palmyra outfielder Katie Rupp slots in at number 17, one of just 2 sophomores to crack the All-Clarence Cannon Conference squad. Rupp hit .325 with 10 doubles and 20 RBI. Our first senior out of the chute is Hamilton's versatile Andrea Hellenthal. The Cardinal Southpaw posted 12 wins on the mound with a 1.46 earned run average, a key cog in Hamilton's push to a regional championship. She also contributed a nifty .374 batting average as well. Checking in at number 15, one of Northeast Missouri's most commanding mound presences, Scotland County's Sarah Eggleston. Behind her trademark shades, the intimidating Tiger Ace earned first-team Tri-Rivers Conference honors with a sub-1 ERA. Up next, one of the most underrated pitchers in the Tri-States, Camp Point Central's Lindsey Harden, who stymied hitters with a lethal .76 ERA. Beardstown's top hitter, junior Mackenzie Jones, claims the number 13 spot in our rankings. The Tiger outfielder was rock solid in Ron Steffen's offense, hitting .351 with a team-best 21 RBI. Colchester ace Amy McKee, the centerpiece of a very successful final season of Lady Indians softball, earns the number 12 spot on the do-or-die team, while 2-time Q&D All-State shortstop Lindsey Phillips, a defensive specialist who hit .417 for Eric Orn, slides in at number 11. Liberty junior Sarah Ormond opens our countdown of the top 10 softball players in the region. The Eagles ace won 12 games this year with 114 strikeouts and a 1.06 ERA. She further doubled as one of the top hitters in the Tri-States with a .347 batting average. The run on Sarah's continues now at number 9, where Quincy High sophomore Sarah Gale holds court. The catalyst behind a markedly improved Blue Devil squad, the right-hander struck out over 200 batters in 2003, strung together a handful of one-hitters and no-nos, and notched a 1.52 ERA. Knox County senior Marcy McMahon and La Harpe slugger Amber Pence slot in at 8 and 7 respectively. McMahon posted 9 wins on the hill with a 1.38 earnings for the Eagles, while Pence was the region's leading home run hitter. North Shelby stalwart Gina Eckler just misses the top 5 after leading the Lady Raiders back to the Missouri State quarterfinals for the second time in her 4-year career. Eckler posted 15 wins on the mound and a 1.50 ERA. We open our top 5 with Northeast Missouri's best underclassmen. Highland pitcher Laura Lee Kraft is fast emerging as the heir to the Jenny Miller, Brittany Buford Show Me State pitching legacy. And she bucks sophomore Jinx Talk with 14 wins, a .82 ERA, and a .347 batting average. Rushville superstar Katie Jo Hollingsworth cemented her reputation as the region's top slugger by finishing second in the state in the IHSA hitting derby. The Rocket Jr. also raised the ante considerably as a pitcher, delivering 3 no-hitters, including 2 back-to-back during the season. Beardstown sophomore Whitney Howe is the top underclassman in our list at number 3. The Lady Tigers ace posted a 15-3 record on the hill with 137 strikeouts. She also fashioned a .60 ERA despite facing some of Illinois' best competition. Case in point, a perfect game by Howe at Payson's expense. But most impressive of all, the Tiger control freak walked just 4 batters in 128 innings worth of work. Clarence Cannon Conference Player of the Year Beth Hancock is our runner-up for the KHQA Softball Player of the Year. The Monroe City star was so dominant at one point this season, she strung together a 43-inning scoreless streak en route to a 16-3 finish. Hancock struck out 189 batters and posted a 1.23 ERA. Which brings us now to the 2003 KHQA Player of the Year honors following to the ultimate leadoff hitter. Payson senior Jessica Boone finished her year with 47 hits in 94 at-bats. Good for a .500 batting average on the button and a staggering .648 on-base percentage. She was absolutely amazing in conference play, batting a mind-numbing .750 in the Pike County Conference. The Lady Indian star also set new school records this season for hits, runs scored, stolen bases, and triples.
And a reminder, a full list of our softball superstars appears at KHQA.com. We've got one more award left to give, and coming up after this commercial, we pay homage. We've got Hamilton losing to Southern 10-0. How about Breezy Guyman leading Carthage to a victory today? Liberty gets a big win over Pleasant Hill, 17-0. More scores for you now coming right past you. Rushville today would sweep a doubleheader today. Also, Macomb knocking off Farmington 4-3. And here's that Rushville sweep over Unity 12-2. And in the second game, 18-4. Also today, we've got tennis for you to pass along. Game of the season. How about Grace Ann Schmidt finding a minimum of fair space, but she puts it in for what turns out to be a hit. Later, she would score on a pass ball to tie the game up at 1 apiece at this point. Quincy High was threatening more runs at this point, but Sarah Harris at shortstop coming up with a magnificent play for Payson right here. The stab and the out. But too much Sarah Gale for Quincy High School today. She gets the win, and 8 strikeouts along the way as Payson loses to Quincy High. 7-1 was your final.
Taking on Payson. Payson's played well. Quincy, haven't seen them yet this year, but they got off to a quick start in the bottom of the 4th. Already up 3-1. Danny Lamatti gets the ground out. That scores Elizabeth Hunnell. 4-1 QHS. Then to the 6th. More from Lamatti. A drive down the right field line. Kaylin Mangold scores. Tori McColas, come on across the plate too. Quincy went up 6-1 and make
well as for Pittsfield, which stays red hot, shutting out Brown County. Also victorious today, Warsaw knocking off Unity. We've got Carthage with the loss to Hamilton 4-0. West Prairie La Harpe gets no hitters from Aaron Pollock in game number 1 and from Ashlyn Pollock in game tonight. The Pike County Conference Tournament. Payson fans all excited. Their team facing the top seed Liberty tonight. And Liberty struggled mightily against the Cinderella Payson Lady Indians tonight. Picked this one up with Amy Brinkman at the plate with a runner on third base. She smacks the ball to the deepest recesses of right field. Her first varsity home run of her career, and it comes off Sarah Orman, no less. 5-1 Payson at this point. Jill Kaufman refused to let Liberty off the mat from that point on out, pitching magnificently on the hill for the Indians tonight. She had 8 strikeouts to help lead her team to victory. A little bit later, she does the duty at the plate as well, with Sarah Harris standing on third base. It's Kaufman with a little insurance run action to make it 6-1. That is how your final ends up as Payson pulls off the monumental upset and gets the win behind Amy Brinkman 6-1.
To do that against Sarah Orman, one of the better pitchers in the area. Yeah, it was pretty much right down the middle, and I knew it was my pitch, so I just caught it and drove it.
You know, we've been through a lot of adversity this year, and I'm just so happy with this team right now because we fought through this week. You know, a 9-inning game against Pittsfield. We were down 6-0 against Barry, and then to come in against the #1 team in the sectional and to be able to play like we played tonight. This is what we've been working for all year.
On the scoreboard tonight in the third place game, it was Griggsville out at the backyard. Great defense early. The story in this game, however, despite Courtney Bailey's great play here, Brooklyn McCullough's great defense out in center field, and Amy Brinkman's great defense for the Indians out at third base. Scott Rowland-like as it was a late comeback offensively by the Lady Indians. They end up coming back and getting the win tonight by the final count in this one of 7-5. Elsewhere in the scoreboard.
Things at the backyard this afternoon. A terrific battle in Tri-State softball as Quincy Notre Dame hosted Payson. To the backyard we go. Coach Eric Orn's group, they would get all that they could handle today by Coach Zanger and the Lady Indians. Helping out early for QND, though, Renita Bunty out of the outstretched arm of that Lady Indian. The freshman gets a triple here in the 5th for QND. The Lady Raiders had the advantage. They would make it 3-0 here in the 5th inning, thanks to Tara Neiman hitting the sacrifice fly. That would bring home Bunty, who had, again, that triple. 3-0 in favor of the Lady Raiders at that point. However, Payson coming back, and they did it with a lot of runs very, very quickly. Payson in the 7th inning. Shannon Deeker is going to bunt home Sarah Harris. Watch the hustle by Harris. She scores 4-3 Payson at that point. and the Lady Indians score 3 more in the 7th. They go on to win by the final score of 7-5. Have some college softball scores for you. Culver Stockton on the road at Missouri Valley, 2-1.
They were playing Payson, and this is Melissa Bluth. She scores on a first run on a close play at home plate. Pittsfield would go on to add another run as the bases were loaded with a walk. Oh, that hurts when you had to run that way. But Payson would come charging back. Payson's Wendy Whelan clears the bases with a double as Pittsfield goes on to beat, or Payson rather, excuse me, goes on to beat Pittsfield by a score of 4-2. And Grigsville Perry will play
Jacksonville route on Saturday for a sectional final. Caitlin Hall getting the Tornado cause off to a great start. It's 1-0 GP at this point. Now, after committing an error that tied up the game, Sawyer Lambeth gets atonement, getting that run back with the RBI single. Another run scored on an error, and GP would lead 3-1 at this point. Your next batter is Sammy Baker, and nobody smacks it around like Sammy Baker. Right here, an RBI single to extend the lead out to 4-1. And just a bit later, 4-2 in the 7th inning when new aunt Kayla Lipkeman, and our congratulations to her, add some insurance runs right here with the RBI double, 5-2. That's the way it ends up. It will be GP versus Route coming up on Saturday. Meanwhile, other news to pass along.
The stakes a little higher tonight as Grigsville Perry squared off with Payson Seymour into the sectional semifinals over in Beardstown. Payson had the early advantage. Heck of a night for all those fans. 1-0, and then they're going to add to it. A little infield single here by Alexis Yates. Kenzie Bryant going to come home from third, and this game was all tied up at 1 apiece, actually, with Grigsville up. Runners at first and second for the Tornadoes. Sawyer Lambeth coming through. Later on, a shot to center. Coming home would be Kayla Lipkeman and Amanda Smith. Smith pitched this game and was outstanding onto the mound. Grigsville Perry had a 3-1 advantage. A little bit more out of the Tornadoes in the PCC Conference champs. Lambeth, she's on third, going to score on the base hit from Sammy Baker. 4-1 in favor of the Tornadoes at that point, and Grigsville Perry is moving on. They get the 5-2 win over Payson. Their next opponent will be Jacksonville Route in Saturday's sectional championship back in Beardstown. Baseball now, a win last